Welcome back, everybody. Man, we have got so much to talk about, but before we get into that, we have got Mick with us today. We have got Slayton back, and I am your host, Justin, aka the Kingmaker. So we have got a lot of training camp news and buzz going on. We got some important battles out there. They're going to determine how you're going to be drafting, who you're going to be drafting, who actually could be kind of sneaky guys that can help you out long term down the season. Like who's getting those snaps in the red zone, all that stuff like that. So these are the things that we've been paying a lot of close attention to, and also been seeing a lot of guys that are starting to get those like training camp contracts, those extensions from their rookie deals and stuff like that. These may not seem important, but these can determine, hey, these guys are going to be the long-term solution at this position. So go invest in these guys now. So, like I said, welcome in. All right, so we got somebody who signed a pretty big contract for that I didn't really see. I didn't really think he earned it. That's one Cortland Sutton. Uh, I didn't really understand this. What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I think the chemistry there between him and Bo Nix, and it's something that's comfortable to him. And I think that, granted, he did sign a bigger contract, but it's nowhere near as big as most of the wide receiver ones, if you will. I know that he did get a pretty big contract, but at the same time, it's locking a guy that's familiar with the offense down, that already has the chemistry down with a rookie quarterback or a second-year. I think that's a great deal for them to get them in there. Mainly, I might be talking a little biased because he's on my team, but hey, I'm pretty excited for Cortland Sutton. I think he has bounced around from offense to offense, and he's finally finding a place that is going to respect him and pay him. So,
I think I agree too. I think he's a good sacrificial X, and he got sacrificial X money, but he's also going to put up some touchdowns. So I feel like that's a very important position in the NFL and not really for fantasy anymore. We're more looking for those alpha slot do it all and then play at the Z and the X guys, but there is a role for the sacrificial X's. And Sutton, although he's probably not going to put up big numbers, like if you forget, before he has ACL, he was coming on pretty strong, and like he was a pretty big buy coming into the dynasty. At least I liked him coming in, and then he got hurt, and it seems like he never really regained it. I think he's maybe getting a little bit of that back. And like Slayton said, he's got a great rapport, and you could probably pencil him in for 8 to 10 touchdowns. So he's probably a decent flex, honestly, for someone who was dead 2 years ago and you couldn't even probably get a second round pick for.
Yeah, I mean, because when Jerry Jeudy was there, it was all like Jerry Jeudy had the big name value. That's who everybody wanted, was Jerry Jeudy. And then Cortland Sutton just kind of quietly, like, kind of rose from underneath, and here he is getting that big money. So I think this speaks volumes to the position, though. Like they've decided, okay, this is going to be their guy. He's going to be long term. They like what they've seen. They've got a rookie running back coming in RJ Harvey. Yes, they have J.K. Dobbins back there, which I know, Mick, you and I have just raved and raved for years since he was in Ohio State. And man, dude, I guess we're seeing where Sean Payton wants to go and where the franchise wants to go with their wide receiver room. They want to build around Cortland Sutton. So if you're looking at going out and acquiring a wide receiver that's not going to be like top tier elite cost, I think Cortland Sutton could be your guy. I mean, Bo Nix has shown enough to where he's gonna be looking Cortland Sutton's way and shown enough to be serviceable as a quarterback. So I mean, I'm in on it. I wasn't always the biggest Cortland Sutton fan, but I've come around to Cortland Sutton. So I think you can go out and you can buy Cortland Sutton a lot cheaper and get similar production than you could with one of those like lower tier wide receiver, top wide receiver ones. Our next guy that got paid is coming from us from where they're at Oxnard. Not Oxnard, the Onion Fields, as what's his name? What's that crazy comedian guy? From dang it, the college from Accepted, that college movie Accepted. Yeah, it's like not Oxnard, California. I'm from the onion field. It's one Jake Ferguson, man. Somebody who I liked coming out of college. I'm glad to see this happen to him. But old boy got paid. He got paid serious money. I mean, he didn't get like Travis Kelce money because like he's not. Let's not fool ourselves here. But man, what do y'all think about Ferguson getting that 4-year contract with 30 million of it guaranteed?
All I'm saying is Jerry wants to pay everybody but Minka Parsons, man. Ain't that the saddest thing of all time? He's just dancing around the fact he won't pay Minka Parsons, which is crazy. Granted, let's not rain on Jake Ferguson's parade. I am a Jake Ferguson truther. I've been a Jake Ferguson fan since day one. I'm willing to put money on any tight end that is in Dallas. You know, that's always kind of been my philosophy. Hell, I still have Dalton Schultz on a couple of my fantasy because I drafted him because he was in Dallas. One of those things, they breed a good tight end there, and they do a really good job with their usage there. So, you know, what's not to be excited about a tight end that's been a pivotal point in their offense with CeeDee Lamb? You know, he is somebody that collects a lot of targets, has been phenomenal as a tight end for what they're looking for and what they use him for. He's been phenomenal. And I know that previous coaches have ranted and raved about, you know, his placement in that offense. So I think it's a great signing for them. Granted, they're probably going to piss off a couple people in the meanwhile with that signing or with that extension. But at the same time, you know, I'm just happy for him. You know, he deserves it. And I think that he's played a very fantastic career there in Dallas. And he definitely deserves it.
I'm kind of lukewarm on that situation just because Pickens is now there. So in order to be a top tight end, you need to be getting a lot of targets, which he probably still will get. What do you think? 90, 100 targets. So that's pretty decent. But I don't think he's the number 2 there anymore, where he always has been the number 2 since he started. So I'm lukewarm on the situation. I think if you have him, he's got life again, and you can start him with no problem, which I don't mind at all. Or maybe I'm looking to try to cash out on the name value now since he just got a bump. I always like in Dynasty, I always like to take players that were once dead. They get a little bit of life. And when that little bit of life comes, people will normally try to hold on to that player. I'm one to where if they were dead and they regained any bit of value, I'm selling right away. So maybe I would try to take him and package him with another 2 and maybe go up a tier, but then you're really not going up a tier. Like, can I use Ferguson to get to Laporta? Probably not, but now maybe the conversation's there and you can start there a little bit. But in terms of redraft, I don't mind waiting and taking Ferguson probably late. And I don't know what his ADP is, but I wouldn't mind him being my tight end in redraft.
Great late. And he really, for a late round time, you kind of fall apart at the seams while you're drafting. You kind of have to pick somebody up late. He always does the trick there. But now tell me if I'm crazy, though. Like, looking back at a Dallas offense, I really don't feel like they've used a whole lot of 2 wide receivers. They've never really had a wide receiver 2. It's always been a wide receiver 1 and a tight end that's always, you know, developed there. So I'm interested what they really do there with Pickens. You know, I'm excited, and I hope that they change their ways on how they run that offense. But it's always been a tight end love there. So I'm interested to see both sides of the coin there.
I think from what I recall, the one season where they kind of strayed from that was when they had Gallup as their wide receiver 2, and he put up a decent season. That's why I'm expecting Pickens to put up like 1,100 yards like Gallup did that one season. And then I believe Amari Cooper was the one there. And then I believe they had Schultz going that year too. So that's kind of what that offense is looking like this year.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas hasn't really ever like supported like a full cast of weapons. It's usually been like when they had Zeke, it was okay, we're a run team, and then boom, we're going to use CD or we're going to use Amari. And it never was like, let's use everybody. That's never been like Dak's kind of specialty there. I mean, I'm good with it. I think it doesn't make sense from a team point because you do have that lingering Micah Parsons thing going on. I think that's only gonna like amplify that situation. But I mean, at least you lock down your tight end, which is a hard position to fill in the NFL, as far as a quality tight end. So I'm not out on it. But so somebody, what do y'all think about this Terry McLaurin situation and him wanting this new contract, but not just a new contract though. Like he's wanting to be paid like more money than DK. So we're talking, dude, we're talking about like 132 million for that what DK got for 4 years. But just real briefly, like, do y'all think Terry deserves that kind of money, or do you think it's just a big win for Debo?
In a vacuum, I think he does. I think Terry McLaurin has shown time and time before that he's an absolute monster out there when it comes to being a wide receiver. But do I think they have the means to pay him is a whole different story. You know, they've got a rookie QB, second-year QB, where like they're going to have to pay him the moon when it comes time, and I don't know if they can afford to put him into a big contract like that, where he's going to want guaranteed money. And, you know, like I really don't know. And the pieces that they're putting around that offense don't really make sense. So they almost have to. Like, it's just a weird situation to begin with.
Yeah.
I think Slayton's right. I think is Terry knows he's got them by the balls because they were close to winning a Super Bowl last year. And without Terry, they're probably not going to get there again. They need that alpha wide receiver. And even though he's a little bit older, I consider Terry McLaurin like a younger, older player, if that makes sense. He's not really, he's still in his prime. He's still got juice. He's still got speed. So I think what he's seeking, he has the right to ask for. I don't think he should be paid that, though. I think he should be paid a little bit under that because he's, 2 years older than DK, something around there. So he's asking for a lot. I know that, and I know he's got him by the balls, but I think they're going to reach some sort of agreement. I heard from right now that they're pretty far off in terms of their contract negotiations. So I'm curious how it all pans out. But rest assured, they're going to want him playing week 1.
Oh yeah. You can't sacrifice that, especially coming off of almost a Super Bowl appearance. All right. So man, the meat and potatoes, the thing everybody's been waiting for. Ooh, juicy training camp battles. All right. So we've had some darlings that looks like we're going to be missing out on now, probably for the year. And we've had some bigger names that have turned into huge flops. First one, I guess we gotta talk about somebody who was drafted early in rookie drafts when he was coming out, and he just never really panned out. But it all started really weird when they traded A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles just so that way they can trade like what they thought was going to be a better, younger Treylon Burks. And his production never worked out. It all started his rookie year, showing up with asthma, out of shape, all this stuff like that. And then now he fractures his collarbone, and like a day later, they waived the guy. So now Treylon Burks is no more. If you were holding on to Treylon Burks on your taxi squad, or if you had hope, and sorry, he's done. Treylon Burks done, bro.
Roses, you know.
This just spells a success for Calvin Ridley. I mean,
it does.
Go get Calvin Ridley on the cheap.
It
RIP.
Of the one dude from Mizzou that came out a couple of years ago, Dorial Beckham Green. That's what it really reminds me of. He came out like everybody was in love with him, drafted super high, and then just fell apart at the seams, man. And it's just crazy. It's sad to see, you know, like I think Treylon Burks, if he was gone to a team that would have actually used him and he would have came in shape, I think it would have been a different story. But, man, like, what a fall from grace.
Yeah, they tried to use him in the wrong way, which was odd. But that why does that seem to be the Titans' MO every time? They draft this great player, and then they misuse him.
Mm-hmm.
And then now here we are talking about what he could have been. He could have been so great, and like, so for right now, like I'm writing off Traylon Burks. I mean, if you have him in Dynasty, man, go ahead and cut him.
Yeah.
He's really not even an afterthought. I mean, with this, the injury plus just the lack of production throughout his entire NFL career, I don't think you even waste a taxi spot on him. I think you just go ahead and cut him and put somebody else there who could become something there. I mean, what do you think?
Agreed. Nothing more to say. That 100%.
Yeah. Next one, man, another darling. Man, that people just loved. He had just a massive first couple of weeks last year. Isaiah Likely, man. I know a lot of people love Isaiah Likely. I think the kid's got so much potential. He could be good in the NFL. I still think so. He's just stuck behind Mark Andrews, and that sucks because Mark Andrews is Lamar Jackson's favorite target. It's funny when your tight end is your wide receiver one on your team, but he's going to have surgery on his broken bone in his foot. So for the foreseeable future, probably for the season, Isaiah Likely looks like he's going to be out for the season. They haven't said it, but when you think about the tight end position, you're not only running routes, which requires a lot of weight being shifted on your feet, you're also blocking, which requires a lot of pressure being applied on your feet when you're blocking defensive ends, outside edge rushers, players of that nature. So this is a buy low situation for Isaiah Likely, I think, and a kind of a sell high on Mark Andrews after he had kind of low production last year. So if you're looking at either one of those players, that's kind of what I'm thinking for this. I don't know. What do y'all think?
I'm not interested in either, to be honest with you. I think that I could probably, if I'm looking for tight, buy a Njoku. I could buy, an Evan Ingram. I could buy, a Jake Ferguson, a Dalton Schultz, and kind of get really close to what I'm getting from there and probably pay a lesser price. Likely seems to have that big name price tag. For what reason, I don't know, but I feel like I see the same song and dance every year that, it's going to be Likely's year. He's going to be awesome. And then it's like a fall from grace. And
he was looking like it was going to be primed after his production he had last year, getting more work in the offense. Now, yes, I get it. Mark Andrews was hurt, so I get that. But Likely was up to either be traded or to become a free agent and go somewhere. I mean, the kid's only 25 years old. For a tight end, I mean, that's just now getting in their prime. He's just now learned the NFL, and boom, now he's off running. And then, now we have an injury here to set him back. Like, I 100% believe this is a buy low situation on Isaiah Likely. Because you got to think, if you have an IR position, boom, there you go. Stash him on IR for the season.
I'm kind of in on that. I think, man, if you had Likely, you probably weren't depending on him as your tight end one, so he kind of stays in the same slot on your roster. And if you had Mark Andrews, he gets a bump now because last year he averaged before his injury, he was a 80 to 90% route runner. And then when Likely started coming on and when he was injured, he went down to 60, 70%. And that's why he had a down year last year, aside from the touchdowns. So now I do think that route participation goes up again. And I think Mark Andrews is going to be a viable starter because foot fractures are no joke. I mean, if anyone is listening to this, if they've ever broken a bone, like bones take a long time to heal. Just because the bone mends and it gets ready, you're still running on that. I mean, I remember I broken fingers and stuff, and I wasn't able to punch punching bags or anything for like a year because that bone is still recovering. So I think Likely is going to be out for a while. I don't expect anything from him this year. I'm probably not even drafting him in redraft. And I think Andrews is going to take back his role this year. So it is what it is. If you want to sell Mark Andrews because he's got life again and he's going to have opportunity, and he's probably going to be putting up points as the staple, probably next to Flowers. It's going to be him and Andrews. So I think Andrews is going to be a good redraft player now that Likely is out of the picture.
Yeah, and I like what you said, redraft. You made sure to say redraft because Andrews is up there when it comes to tight end age. He's not a Kelsey. He's not a Kittle. I mean, he was good. He's good. Don't get me wrong. But so with all the training camp battles going on, in every battle, there's a winner and there's a loser. So who are some winners and who are some losers that y'all are seeing with all the news coming out of training camp?
I've been seeing a lot about old Scat Pack, old Scataboo out
Gosh, you and Bo Scatterbo, man.
here.
You and freaking Scatterbo.
He looks good, man. He's a
He
warrior.
does.
Coach is talking highly about him. He's getting some first team reps. I think it's only a matter of time before he starts eating into that role. And being that goal line back there, I mean, the dude's just an absolute unit when it comes to running between the tackles. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm keeping a close eye on him. I missed out on him in a draft that I had, and I'm kind of a little bit butthurt about it. But hey, it is what it is, and I got to keep my eyes on him. And whenever there's a chance to buy low, I got to attack.
There you go. There you go.
I've got a great question for you guys that'll tie into another camp battle. So Tank Bigsby is looking like he's seizing the Jaguars RB1, or at least the 1-2 down grinder. So would you rather Cam Scataboo for the season or Tank Bigsby? Justin.
I'm going to go Tank Bigsby just because I like the Jaguars offense more than I like the Giants offense. The Giants their offense doesn't give me anything to get excited about. Even if it is a Tank and ETN split and Tank just starts to overtake, still give me that because I feel like the Jaguars are going to be in scoring position a lot more than the Giants. So I'm going to go Tank over Cam Scatterbo easily.
I would kind of follow suit with Justin there just for the simple fact I like the situation there in Jacksonville a lot better. As far as the player, I definitely think Cam Scatterbo is way miles ahead of Tank Bigsby, but that's just me in general. But I really don't foresee that offense in New York being that great. I don't foresee them being in the goal line area to where most of the rushing touchdowns, 50% of them are scored within 2 yards. So for you to be able to get there is a whole different other ball game. So for them to get to the 2-yard line, I'm feeling a little bit less likely for them to happen, where the Jacksonville Jaguars will be a little bit more in the red zone than the Giants. But, yeah, I definitely will follow suit with Justin there. Not by a long mile, but definitely by a little bit.
So here's a thing that crossed my mind the other day, since I'm always a sicko and I'm thinking about these things. Since Tank Bigsby now has some value in Dynasty, could you take Bigsby and trade him for Scataboo?
I think you can, because Tank. So Tank was always a good running back at Auburn, and he's got more name value. Plus, with Liam Cohen coming in, everybody thinks like, oh, we got another. He's going to be the new Bucky Irving kind of situation. And Cam Scatterbo, I mean, he was like a low key, decent running back. And then that game against Texas in the college playoff, I mean, that's when he became a household name. I think Cam Scatterbo's good, but man, Tank Bigsby. I got to disagree with you, Slayton. I think Tank Bigsby is a way better running back than Scatterbo.
I think Bigsby's good. I will not disagree with that. I think his upside is completely capped because he is not a pass catcher. So you're banking on the Jaguars offense being good enough to where he is putting in enough rushing scores to be a difference maker. But I think everyone that had Bigsby on their rosters already just got some life, and now you've got a flexible starter now in Bigsby, and so that's why my brain kind of went there. Whereas before you couldn't trade for Bigsby, and he probably wasn't entering your lineup. Now he's entering your lineup, but you weren't looking for that, so why not use him and try and get Scataboo, who is going at 202? Just a thought. Help out the viewers.
Yeah, that's all it's about. Us trying to help everybody decipher all this camp news and all this coach speak, because we know like so many times these coaches, these GMs, they're just talking out the side of their head. Then they're not going to tell you the truth. So that's where we have to come in and help y'all out and say, okay, is this coach full of crap? This is what this means. These reps are more important because the first team reps do matter. And how many of those reps are you getting? Is it you're only getting those reps because the starter ahead of you is sore, or why is that? So that's where we can help you out. So what's some other winners and losers that we're seeing come out of camps? Because it looks like there's quite a bit of guys that are shining.
I've got one
for you guys to kind of loop into one of these as well. So I want your guys' honest opinion. Did any of you guys see the amount of money that Shedeur Sanders made off of just jersey revenue sales?
No.
But I know he's up there.
$1 million in commission off of his jersey sales.
How much was that?
I want to 14 million.
14.
Wow.
Okay.
Off of his jersey sales. You might want to check me on that, but I could be wrong there. But at the same time, we saw this with Saquon Barkley leaving the Giants, and it was their cash cow. How long will it take for them to see how much money that Shedeur brings in before they make him a starter? Because I don't see any world where, the fans are behind him. They're all buying his jerseys. Every storyline's about him. He is a walking, talking, media magnet. And, granted, yes, it is a negative, but at the same time, it also makes your team money. It also puts fans in your seats. And we've got Kenny Pickett that just got hurt. When is he going to be back? We don't know. It's a hamstring injury. It's looking rough. You have Flacco that, yes, he'll probably start the season as a starter, but I don't foresee him being the starter for much longer, with Shedeur making this much noise. And it doesn't help that he's also making noise in camp. I think the last headline that I saw was yesterday. It was 9 for 9, 2 touchdowns. He's looking good on all sides. Granted, from what I heard, that he had a little bit of a spat with the owner on the sidelines after some questionable remarks that he made. The owner made on the media day. So, I'm interested to see where this goes. If he gets traded off to another team for him to shine, or if Cleveland's going to, harness this in and get some money out of this guy to where, I don't know if the talent is better than the money, or if
Yeah, but too many times we see the NFL, $14 million is nothing. The NFL owners don't care about $14 million. They wipe their butt with that. They will sign a player, use them for a year, and then leave. But there's no amount of money that can replace a Super Bowl trophy. None. Yeah. I guarantee you the Browns ownership is thinking, who gives us a chance to win? I can almost guarantee they don't care about jersey sales. They care about who's going to give them a chance to win. Yes, look, because you just got slapped in the face with Quinshon Judkins. So you're going to have to ride with Dylan Sampson and your boy Jerome Ford. You've got a veteran, Joe Flacco. Okay, you drafted Dylan Gabriel because you saw something in him. Okay, so look, man, and you've got Jerry Jeudy, who is a very, very capable wide receiver. And I don't look. Shedeur Sanders is big in media. That's it. If he's the better quarterback, then he will play. I don't think in any way the GM, the coaches are going to let him play just because he sold $14 million in jersey sales. I don't. No. But that's just my take on it. I think the better quarterback's going to win, and I think Joe Flacco probably has the edge right now.
Total sales was 92 million was what the jersey sales were. His cut was 14 mil.
For the NFL though, right?
For the NFL, yeah.
Okay, so the Browns didn't see all of that money. They just saw some of that money, correct?
I don't know quite how that all works as far as with the.
But yeah, so just my point is I don't think that's going to weigh any way of how they're going to decide who their starting quarterback is going to be. Will he play this season? Probably so. I mean, because Joe Flacco's losing a step every year. I mean, he's getting older, man. But that is going to be an interesting development to see how that works out. But Mick, you had something?
Yeah, are we buying into this Keandre Lambert Smith hype at Chargers camp?
Me personally, I'm not, man. I'm all in on Trey Harris. I think Trey Harris is good. I don't think Quentin Johnson is done. I think they're still gonna give him an opportunity. They invested a high draft pick in him. So I think Lambert Smith is a good backup plan. But I think as of right now, you've got Ladd, you've got QJ, and you've got Trey Harris. Not to mention you're the darling of yours, Mick, Aronde Gadsden, who is looking phenomenal at camp, by the way. So that's working out for you. I hope everybody was listening to Mick when he told you go out and get Aronde Gadsden, because this kid is looking like he's going to be something special. But me personally, I'm not buying into it. But tomorrow we have football on TV, fellas, and he is one of the individuals that will be there. So we'll see. Hey, is this hype, or is this a hoax? Like, what is this?
I got something for you. So, who did the Eagles draft? The name is escaping me, but he was a first-round pick, and he converted to a tight end, and he was in the Debo class, and he went to
Josh.
yes, J-Jaw.
Yep.
Yes. So, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, that a boy. Thank you for
out of
saying that name.
Stanford. Yeah, he was a big name. Everybody liked him.
Okay, so I drafted him in my dynasty league at 106, and I passed up DK Metcalf and Debo for him, right? And because he had hype, and then his first preseason game, he went for 8 catches and 110 yards, and I then had an offer the next day for someone almost double what I paid. Someone offered me a first next year and then a second and a third. And I thought, no, this guy's the next coming. He just put up 8 catches and 100 yards in his first preseason game. Little did I know he never would enter a starting lineup at all, nor become fantasy relevant. So that is just a tidbit to whereas maybe Keandre Lambert Smith does something tomorrow and you can capitalize on that hype, because realistically, like Justin said, and Slate said that he's probably not going to be anything, but if there's some value there, capitalize, because there is hype on him right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you got him, what, 4th, 5th round in your rookie drafts, and somebody offers you a third, dude, take that. That's an awesome return on your investment.
Yeah.
So, but no, we'll see about that. So
I seen that Tyler Show was out here looking like a trash bag, and Spencer Rattler is going to take the job.
Bro, don't believe that. Don't believe that for a second. Spencer Rattler's 5 Minutes of Fame was him on Netflix when he had that QB1 show or something. That was it. But honestly, I wasn't a fan of Rattler then. I thought he was kind of a douchebag, and it probably hasn't changed. Tyler Show got paid, bro. That when it comes to that, money does talk. So that dude's contract is guaranteed. He's good to go. I think it's Tyler Shough all day. Even though Rattler and Haener have been there, I like Haener in college, but he was just a good college arm. He's not a good NFL arm. I think it's gonna be Tyler Shough, man. To be honest with you,
I think Rattler is gonna start, and then he's gonna show who he really is, that he's not anything, and then they're going to go to Tyler Shough afterwards. So again, I'm always thinking, what can I do with that? And when you see Rattler starting and he's on your roster in Dynasty, sell him. Week 1.
Stock market the mess out of that. Sell him. Yeah, I mean, because Rattler is 100% gonna show you who he is, and he probably won't be there after 2 weeks, man. So I think that's gonna be good for the running game, though. But I don't know. Kellen Moore can draw up something good. He's got Kamara and Devin Neal. Dude, he's going to figure something out.
Mm-hmm. While you're on that subject, are we doing this again with Kendre Miller, who says he's as healthy as possible and he is looking to make a bounce back?
Well, Kamara was saying that both them guys look awesome. He's saying Devin Neal and Kendre Miller look good. So is that player speak? Is that Kamara just hyping up his teammates, or do you think he really feels that way? Because Kamara don't want to lose his job.
Well, I believe that Kamara's came out and said in the media in the past that he works on efficiency. He's not out here trying to get all the carries, so he's hoping these guys are going to be something good. So he's not just getting pounded into the damn dirt, man. That's just kind of been his MO from the beginning. So I definitely think that, yes, it does have some player speak into it, but at the same time, that Keandre Miller has kind of been left to the wolves after the injury, and now he's finally a full season back from the injury, and he's ready to go. Like, I think it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in on Kendre Miller, dude. Like, I've been in on him since he was at TCU. Like, I like Kendre Miller, and
Yeah,
I know that Mick does too. And we got another guy in one of our leagues that does, and we've liked him, and we like Roschon Johnson. We just feel like those two guys are underutilized and have so much potential. I mean, I'm with it. I would love to see that three-headed monster if they could work that out. If they decide to do something with Kamara, would maybe trade him or something like that, because Kamara still has trade value. And if they really like Devin Neal and they really like Kendre Miller, those are two young guys that you're going to have for a while. I mean, Kendre needs to get paid soon or get, or a free agent, but you got to figure out what you got. Like, if you really think you can win this year, then okay, keep Kamara. If not, let him go and see what you got in Kendre, and then see what you got in Devin Neal. That's the way I look at it. But the Saints have a lot of question marks. So, and with Chris Olave too, like, what are we doing with Chris Olave? Because he's such a phenomenal talent. Like, you watched him in college, and it's just like every big play was Chris Olave, or as a guy said, Olave. I don't know whoever that guy was. Like, he was so much fun to listen to. But man, what are they going to do in New Orleans, man? Like, do we want any of these players on our rosters?
I personally don't. I'm so far out on that roster. I'll take Kamara, and that is end of list.
Yeah. Right now, I don't think you can really trust Olave though, because like we don't know much about Rattler and Shuck.
Who's going to get? Like, I'm deathly afraid of that situation.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can hand the ball off. So worst come to worst, it's just like hand the ball off to Kamara, dump the ball off to Kamara. So I'm with you, Slade. I think Kamara is the only one you can really trust in the offense right now. What'd you say? I can't hear you.
They're tight end out there right now.
Well, Jawan Johnson should be still, right?
He's hurt.
Yeah. Oh, he's hurt. So yeah.
So does Taysom Hill, so he's not there. Like, it's a complete disarray.
I mean, I'm avoiding the Saints offense. I mean, I'm definitely not going to take Kamara in the first couple of rounds of redraft. Heck no. That's too much of a question mark for me. But somebody that you can confidently take now is one Chase Brown after Zach Moss being cut by the Bengals. So stock is up on Chase Brown if he wasn't already for you. They are saying they fully believe in this guy. They don't care about having Samaje Perine or Taj Brooks behind them. They love them some Chase Brown in Bengals country. But think about this too. I think it's a money issue because they just paid T. Like, you paid all these pieces except Trey Hendrickson, and you can't afford Zach Moss. So I think he was a cap casualty. But who cares? This is fantasy football. We don't care about that crap. Chase Brown to the moon, baby.
Speaking of, I've seen that Shamar signed out there too, and up to camp finally. I feel like he's probably handcuffed here, but just kind of add into that Bengals situation. But yeah, no, what crazy news to see Zach Moss getting the axe, and they just moving forward with Chase Brown, man.
And then having the security, Chase Brown, having the security of them not drafting a top running back. So you don't have any threat behind you. So that tells me even more that they really believe in Chase Brown. So if you can go out and get Chase Brown and he can be your guy for this year and next year, then dude, go do that. I'm all about that. If you need a running back and you feel like you can make a push, go get Chase Brown for this year and next year. Sell him at the end of next year if you know you're not contending. Yep. But dude, with Moss out of the picture, bro, Chase Brown to the moon. Have y'all seen the hype about this DeAndre Thornton kid?
Oh yeah,
with the Raiders.
Oh yeah, I've been in it now. And like I said in our, I don't know if it was which video we did. It was one of my honorable mentions. And I was telling you guys, he is the outlier of the group there. He does something different than everybody else. And I'm extremely excited. He's a true field stretcher. I think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
I mean, the only other guy there is what, Jacoby Myers and then Brock Bowers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Jack Bech with him, I know Thornton's a rookie too, but it's weird with rookies. Sometimes the lesser drafted guy can dominate camp, and then they're like, okay, well, we like this guy a little better. So, I mean, Exhibit A, Jacoby Myers. Look what we got with him. He's a perfect example of that. He was a nobody, and now he's a household name with fantasy gurus. I don't know. I think I'm kind of buying in on DeAndre Thornton. I'll probably put a couple offers out for Thornton. I mean,
guys
being
remember
6'5" and running that fast.
Do you remember that stat I gave you about Deontay Thornton on who his only two other comparable players were in the NFL ever?
Wasn't it like Calvin Johnson and Randy Moss or something like that?
And DK.
Or who was it? DK. That's what it was. DK. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good company, bro. One of them's a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's one of the only guys that are 6'5", 6'4", and runs a 4.3. So
yeah, the only problem is I've never believed in Geno Smith. That's the only problem.
I know
But as we see, next year could be different. Geno goes down, he gets another quarterback. Geno does horrible. They trade for another quarterback. I mean, you never know. The draft is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I don't know, dude. I think it's worth throwing a fourth or a third at.
A lot of these
if you can get them.
Favors. There's not a whole lot of people that are really steaming on him right now. Unless they're like really down in the trenches looking for, people, they're passing over him for people like the KMSs and the Jacoby, whatever his name is from.
Well, only our viewers are getting this information because the casual fantasy football player is going to be like, oh, Ashton Jeanty, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers. They're not going to be looking at the guys like Deontay Thornton.
No.
So everybody out there watching this, like, go look at Deontay Thornton. Look at some of the stuff he's doing, and like that will tell you right there, like this is somebody you need to keep your eye on. Or even if he wasn't drafted, stash him on taxi and just see what happens. Because, dude, Jacoby Myers is going to be gone soon. Jack Bech, yes, he's competition, but he's a rookie competition. So the whole Raiders thing could change a lot. I mean, look, Ashton Jeanty's gonna be the focal point. Brock Bowers gonna get his. That's just gonna happen, right? We're not gonna discount those guys at all. But somebody's got to catch the long ball, and I think Deontay Thornton could be that guy.
Best ball. He's a best ball guy.
Oh yeah, and and right here, that's Slayton's specialty right there is best ball. So, I mean, he's definitely somebody to go look in that.
Mm-hmm.
So. Sounds like we're all pretty good on Deontay Thornton. With the
Joe Mixon being out, do you think Woody Marks takes over that role? Or do you think Nick Chubb gets it?
I don't know. So I want to hear what Mick has to say first on it, and then because I have some thoughts.
I think Nick Chubb is going to get the run, and I think he's going to put up a lot of volume and not a lot of yardage. He's going to get volume and yardage. And then I think once Mixon comes back, if he gets healthy, he's going to jump right back into that role. So you could have Mixon be a buy low if you think he can regroup. But foot injuries, again, like I said, are serious. Michael Thomas, all these guys that have foot injuries, they're hard to come back from. So it just depends on the severity. Woody Marks being a rookie, I wouldn't put too much hope into him, but they did draft him for a specific role in being the pass catching guy, and they gave up draft capital to trade up to get him. So they had a plan for him when they drafted him. So I think Woody Marks is not a bad PPR stash on your bench.
Yeah. So I was at Texans training camp the first day that they allowed fans in. And what I was seeing is one, I saw Nick Chubb. I got a picture of Nick Chubb and Woody Marks standing next to each other. These fools are the same size, for one. And everybody knows Nick Chubb is a beast, right? The only difference is Woody Marks was getting the slant routes. Woody Marks was getting the outside handoffs. Nick Chubb was getting all the inside handoffs and none of the passes. So Nick Chubb is going to be your between the tackles bruiser, and then Woody Marks is going to be your PPR guy. So most fantasy football has gone to PPR. Okay. If Woody Marks, if you drafted him dirt cheap, or if you're getting him in like the last couple rounds of your fantasy draft, bro, sell him. If he looks like, oh, he's getting a lot of passes, sell him. Look, he's not going to be the guy. Okay, that's just the reality of it. He's not. Nick Chubb is not going to be the guy. If you got Nick Chubb off of waivers in dynasty leagues, or you traded for him for dirt cheap, when Nick Chubb comes out, puts up 100 yards game one with a touchdown, and dude, sell him for profit.
Yeah,
because the good brother Nick Chubb that everybody loved, he's not the Nick Chubb of old. He's just not. And I think we have to realize that Woody Marks is not the future of the franchise. Their future franchise running back's not on the team yet. Sell him. These are great. This is a great opportunity to sell these guys, right? If you can go out and get Joe Mixon for cheap, because it is Joe Mixon's job. But I'm not gonna invest in this backfield when Joe Mixon comes back, because that's Woody Marks is gonna show what he can do, and they're gonna like him. Nick Chubb has the resume, and then Joe Mixon has the resume. I don't think there's gonna be enough fantasy value between the three of them that you're gonna want them on your team, especially if you're trying to win a ship.
You know what? I think now that you bring Woody Marks up, I think he was being slept on a little bit. I'm looking up his stats right now, and he had 80 catches in his freshman year for 500 yards. And then he had another 50 catches his next year. But his last season is kind of intriguing because he showed he can rush. He had 200 rushes for 1,200 yards, so it shows he can be a rusher on top of another 50 catches. So there might be something there for Woody Marks, maybe not in dynasty, but in redraft, I might be going against the grain, and you might have talked me into it because it looks like he's an all-purpose. He can do it all back, and like you said, his metrics and BMI is 30%, which is what you want. He's 5'10", 210, so he is a brick shit house too. So I don't know, there might be something there.
And Chubb was getting stuff at the line, whereas Woody Marks was breaking free.
Interesting.
I mean, Woody Marks is where you want to go. I mean, I had him high on my ranks for rookie rankings, and it's not going to change, especially right now with Mixon being out. He's going to climb up rankings, so you're going to have to overpay for him something. But dude, I mean, I'm in on Woody Marks.
Redraft,
especially if you can get him. Yeah, heck yeah, 100%. So somebody that everybody loves, there's a new alpha in town in the city of LA, Davante Adams, Puka Nacua. This puts a lot of people in a precarious position. What are we doing with Puka? What are we doing with Davante Adams? Are we freaking out, or are we holding strong and being confident that Puka is the guy, especially with Matt Stafford missing camp time right now? So that bodes well for Puka because Stafford can't develop that relationship with Adams. So how are we feeling about that?
I think they both eat. I think we'll on both of
them. That's amazing. Oh, that's an awesome one, Brandon. Thank you for that.
That's a good one. That's a good comment right there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I went from thinking that the Rams offense was going to be pretty unstoppable this year with Kyron and then Aaron Jarquez, and then freaking you got Davante Adams opposite Puka. But it's kind of shown me that they might be a little bit risky now because back injuries are pretty serious, and Stafford is a tough SOB, and he's played through multiple broken back, vertebrae, all of that. He has.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be starting week 1. But a lot of smart people say never draft injured players to start your fantasy season. So if you're not drafting Matt Stafford, then shit, what are you going to be doing with Puka and Adams? Are you going to trust Jimmy G slinging them the rock?
He hasn't given us much confidence the past couple of years in all his mini landing spots. So I'm not going to take him where we took him last year, that high. But
Devontae hates Jimmy G. He got off of the Raiders because Jimmy G was throwing him into cornerbacks in the middle of the field too often. He said Jimmy G was going to hurt him and sacrifice his career. That's why he wanted to get the hell out of there.
Well, now he's seeing him again. So how is that going to go? That's something Sean McVay is going to have to work out because that's crazy. But
not a good situation. I think Stafford will be fine, but then again, there's a little bit of concern there. A little bit now, it's creeping in.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel more confident with Puka than I would Devontae, just because Puka's younger. He's a lot faster. Devontae's a journeyman. Don't get me wrong, but he's got a receiver needs that relationship with their quarterback, and right now he's not getting it because the quarterback's not there. So
right, good point.
I don't know. This is a tough one. But wide receivers changing offenses, especially new teams, that's always difficult. It's rare that a wide receiver will go to a new team and then boom, the first year that they're there. But another offense that is looking a little rough right now is the Jets. And Justin Fields, who was supposed to be their hope, their savior after the whole Aaron Rodgers situation, he's got a little boo-boo on his toe. So he's not walking around well, so he's not practicing. But they've got some weapons, man. So you got Garrett Wilson, and then you got Mason Taylor, who is my anointed second pass catcher in this offense. I'm buying Mason Taylor everywhere I can get him. I just believe in the talent. And so what does this spell for Breece Hall and Braylon Allen? So Mick, actually, you and I actually traded you Braylon Allen and Breece Hall this offseason. Separate trades. So what do y'all think this is going to go here? Because I think on Ray Garvin's show, Wake Up, he was talking about how they were talking about the offense that they're going to run is the split wing T, like what was it, Navy or Army or one of those where they just run. I mean, if all you have to throw to is Garrett Wilson and you have Justin Fields, who's a phenomenal running quarterback, and a great scrambling quarterback too, so that bodes well again for Mason Taylor. Are we loving this backfield right now? I mean, could both of these guys have predominant fantasy value?
I hope so. I want to see Braylon Allen get a chance. I was hoping he was going to get drafted in Dallas. But that really pissed on things.
I hated Braylon Allen going to the Jets.
Him going to the Jets, it was the same sentiment that I've had, of anybody going to the Jets. It's just, dude, I want no part of that.
Well, it was one of those situations like when Tank got drafted behind Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
When Zach Charbonnet got drafted behind Kenneth Walker. It's like, dude, what are y'all doing? Why are you taking these good quarterbacks and putting them behind – these good running backs and putting them behind other good running backs that are better running backs? I hated that. And then Braylon Allen going behind Breece Hall, man. But you got to take him because he's an elite backup.
The NFL doesn't care. I get it. They're going to draft good players that if their RB1 goes behind, they can put in their RB2 and not miss a beat.
Yeah, but our fantasy teams, we need points.
We need these players.
I know, and it's the way.
But I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I believe in Braylon Allen. I believe in Breece Hall. If they do it right. So one thing that we've seen time and time again is when defensive-minded coaches that are especially former defensive players become head coaches, they like to lean on a run game because the old smash mouth way is you run the ball and you play good defense. That's the old school way of doing things. Dude, I think Aaron Glenn's going to do that. I think that's exactly what we're going to see in New York. I think we're going to see a lot of Breece Hall and we're going to see a lot of Braylon Allen. So players just like you, Mick, can go out there and they could probably start both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, which we haven't seen in a long time, where you can start multiple players from the same team like we had with Kamara and Ingram, we had with Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman, and what we have now in Detroit with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So to have this potential again is different if you have some RB2, just some regular guy, right? But this ain't some regular guy. This is Braylon Allen, who was a stud ever since he was a freshman at Wisconsin. Rocking the number 0, by the way. Like, what? You got to be a man for that. And everybody knows Breece Hall, dude. So, I don't know. I'm in on it. What do y'all think?
I really hope that one of them gets traded because I'm about tired of these guys going to the Jets and just
the Jets, Jets. Come on.
Jets. Trade Garrett Wilson too. Just relocate something. I don't know. Do something. Sell the team. I don't know. But it's been the same old Jets for years, and it's been the same song and dance, and I hate to see it. Every player that I see that goes there, I just feel disgusted having to pick them in any draft or any facet of the manner.
With Fields being hurt for now, at least, I don't think this is last very long. But it definitely doesn't help that it's training camp and you've got new coaches in the building, and a new quarterback. It's not like he was here last year. So you've got a lot of new faces here. This is not going to be great for the passing offense. And I'm looking at Garrett Wilson here. Okay, this is not good for Garrett Wilson. As long as Justin Fields is gone, because that relationships, like we talked about, you have to build that chemistry. And right now, Fields and Garrett Wilson are not doing that. They're not getting that opportunity. I like the short game of the Jets this year. I'm not in on the long game. I mean, am I crazy on that or?
No, you're not. I agree. I think Vegas has already set Justin Fields' prop line for passing yardage historically low. So they are already anticipating him not passing very much. It's historically low. I think it's below 3,200 yards. So that's Wilson's going to eat, and then Taylor's going to eat, and then Reynolds will probably catch like 400 or 500 yards, and that's about it. So I'm actually curious on what they can do if they're going to be able to run a dual split. They have to utilize Breece Hall by passing to him, because if they have a better rusher in Braylon Allen, why not give him the rock, like you said, in that formation and then pass the ball? It just depends on if Breece Hall is going to be able to catch checkdowns from Fields if he's not tucking away and running. I'm very curious on the offense. Their defense is going to keep them in games, so they're probably going to be nosebleed battles, and it's kind of curious. I'm curious on how it's going to pan out. I'm a believer in Breece Hall. He's going to be in everyone's starting lineup. You're not taking him out of your starting lineup. And then we'll have to wait a couple weeks with Braylon Allen, whether you think you could flex him if they're showing that he's getting 12-ish carries a game and converting some of those. And he's not a bad pass catcher either, so he could probably catch some dump offs. So time will tell. We'll see. It's a very interesting offense.
Yeah. So another very interesting offense that was kind of a sweetheart for everybody last year is the Buccaneers. So Baker Mayfield, the resurrection is alive and well. We're seeing a new Baker, new rejuvenated Baker. Is that going to continue without Liam Cohen? I guess we'll find out. Chris Godwin still doing rehab on what was a ankle injury last year that he's still dealing with. So this opens the door for more reps for somebody that, if you are in the Devy community, you know this name, you know it well. It is one Emeka Egbuka, and he is, dude. I can't tell you enough how much good stuff I see about him all over Twitter, man. He's just killing it. But no, nobody here and nobody with a right mind looking at these rookies and watching film thought that Ibuka would do bad. It just sucked that he was behind Evans and Godwin. That's the only thing. That's the only thing people were upset about. But hey, this goes to show anything can happen. And here we are. Ibuka is looking like a freaking diamond that was never in the rough. So I don't know. Is this bad for Godwin or good for Ibuka, or what are we feeling?
Like, I'm just so excited for Ibuka, man. He's gonna be so much fun to watch, and just with Chris Godwin being out right now, and him having time to build that chemistry with Baker, I really think that this is going to be so much fun for them to kind of blossom and see what happens with him. But, Ibuka, you've seen it from college. He was able to put up 1,000-yard seasons, over and over and over with fucking people around him that are rock stars in every aspect of the manner. And now, he gets to do it again. And I'm so excited to see what he got put into a phenomenal situation. And that's where, I really want to beat the drum on this, is that he got put into a great offense. It's not like he's going to a jet. It's not like he's going to, play wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. He's going to somebody that's going to utilize him as the wide receiver, utilize him to, his fullest potential. And I'm so excited for it, man.
Yeah.
I think Baker's
we're pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about it. That just goes to show, always draft talent, not the situation. Always draft talent, not the situation. You got to tell yourself that every single year, because it comes to fruition every single year. It seems like, and it even seems like the fantasy gods or the NFL gods will repay you on that, because it seems like every single time you draft someone in a bad situation that has the talent, someone ahead of them gets hurt that year. It happens every single year. And now Ibuka is slated to get with Baker, who has found new life. And I'm a Baker guy. I think he had we talked about it earlier. He was meeting girls in his pie wagons and stuff, but now he's grown up. He's got a family, and he's just going to show that he is the truth. And he probably won't have 40 passing touchdowns again this year, but we all know Baker is a rock solid passer now, and Ibuka is going to eat. And I think people are kind of sleeping on Evans too. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of sleeping on Evans too. I don't know how I'm going to be taking him in redraft, but now that Godwin's out of the picture, Evans is going to be the number one again. So he's probably going to put up 10 plus touchdowns if he stays healthy again for another damn year.
Hey, I'm glad I got him in at least one of my dynasty leagues. So.
I got. Or should we start buying up on Jalen Royals right now? Because it seems like they're not going to have any wide receivers by the start of the season.
I don't know. The stuff with Rashee Rice is pretty crazy.
Yeah. And we got Worthy that's, dealing with concussions and all sorts of stuff already. We got Hollywood Brown that got carted off the field. Like, it's just complete disarray right now, and I'm loving it.
Man, you're going to have Keenan. They're going to be calling Keenan Allen. Shoot, they might.
Juju.
Who would they trade for? Yeah, they'd be calling Juju back. At least he knows the offense, which I wouldn't buy. I wouldn't buy that for nothing. Man, I mean, they got Hopkins, but what's Hopkins anymore, right? No,
Ravens. Yeah.
Travis Kelce's supposed to be in the best shape of his life. As we hear that so many times. I'm so tired of hearing that crap.
Yeah. They've been sorts of clips of him catching 3-yard ends. Like, come on now. Like, just ball sling across the field. I'm like, that's what he does. Like, big surprise. Thanks.
Yeah, Travis Kelce is one of those players that he's not fast. He's not elusive. But somehow he's always open. And I don't understand it. And it pisses me off because I'm watching and I'm like, this guy's running in quicksand with cowboy boots on, but yet he's scoring touchdowns. What is going on? At least George Kittle is athletic and fast and just a tough monster. But it was like Gronk, the same situation with Gronk. It's like, dude, slow as can be, but somehow he's scoring touchdowns. Like, what is going on here?
Session.
But
I'm drafting Kelsey in redraft because the price on him is low. So why not take a stab at that? And to get back to Slayton's point, for Royals, he was a pretty good darling for the Twitter community. People did like his prospect profile. The only thing that gets me off of him is the NFL told us that they didn't believe of him. They passed him up until he went in the 4th round, I believe. So I think there might be a role with him because Hollywood Brown has proven that he's not going to stay relevant. He gets hurt every single year. What could have been with him?
I think he might be done for the season with an ankle injury.
So, I mean, Royals could get some run, but I think once Rashee Rice comes, it's going to be the Rashee Rice show. But until then, Kelsey's going to basically be the counterpart like Mark Andrews. He's going to get some run in the beginning of the year, so you got to buy in. If he is lean again this year. He did lose weight. He does want to make a comeback. I think last year in the offseason, he was partying with Taylor Swift after the Super Bowl. He really didn't give a shit about the upcoming year. He was fat.
Bro, he had the dad bod going on, and he wasn't even a dad.
But now he is back, and I do believe that he'll have some run. So Royals, I'm not buying into it. If he shows anything, I'll sell him. But just because of the Kansas City name, I just find it funny that they come into it every single year where, okay, we finally got this wide receiver core behind Mahomes every single year, and then
Sky Moore, remember him?
Every time they come in with 3-4 good receivers, and they think, okay, this is the year for Kansas City. Mahomes is going to go back to that 50 touchdown year, and they just have terrible luck every single time. So
I think all this just spells Travis Kelce in redraft or best ball. I mean, because obviously you don't want to go buy him long term for Dynasty because the dude could retire after the season. But I think this is more of like Pat and Travis are just like, hey, bro, let's do it. Just you and me. Let's run it back. And then, boom, they go out and do it with all the question marks, because you got these young kids that can't get right, man. So you got tried and true over there, Mahomes and Kelce. But as far as Jalen Royals, no, I'm not really buying into all that. I would wait and see what's going to happen with Rashee Rice. But his value right now is crazy high. I mean, people are wanting a lot for Rashee Rice. I'm not willing to pay it. I like Rashee Rice. Don't get me wrong. I do like Rashee Rice, but I'm not willing to pay it right now because, yeah, you may have him this season, but what happens if he misses half of next season and you're a contender? You can't afford that if he's your wide receiver 1.
I think it's best case scenario, though. I own Rashee Rice in a couple leagues in Dynasty, and my hope was that he would not get suspended, or he would get suspended this year at the beginning of the year, because why not? He's coming off an injury. This is the perfect time for him to get suspended and miss games while he's still getting healthy. It wouldn't do us any good if he was available week 1 and playing, and then they suspend him next year to start the camp when he's 100%, So I do kind of find it good as the best possible scenario for Rashee Rice getting suspended right now. I do like it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, the Chiefs are going to be interesting. I think Mahomes is also going to have a chip on his shoulder, with him kind of falling out of that like top quarterback 1, tier. So I think he's going to come back in and because they haven't really performed like the Chiefs, the Patrick Mahomes led Chiefs. So that's going to be interesting to see. But so this, man, we've covered a lot of training camp battles, our winners, our losers, who got paid, who's still trying to get paid. Man, this has been an awesome show. Hopefully a lot of you out there can take some of this knowledge and go forward into your dynasty leagues. Put some offers out there for some of these players that you think are going to be good buys. Try and sell some of these players like tomorrow night. With today being July 30th, tomorrow being the 31st, the Hall of Fame game. Hey, let's say Gadsden, right? If Oronde Gadsden goes out and booms, and you don't really buy into it, but hey, maybe now you can sell him for a second and a tight end premium, and you got him in the 5th. Whatever it may be. Take this information, go out there and succeed, man. It's all about winning championships. That's all it's about. That's why we do this. We pay our money every year to bring home that trophy. With that being said, from Mick, Slayton, and myself, we appreciate you tuning in, and we hope that this information helps you to go win a championship, and we will see you next time.